Hey everyone, welcome to Beach Investing. I'm your host, Andrei Angelkovski. We're here in Etobicoke. We're in the prime beaches in Toronto, and we're about to look at the most ideal beach property. Hey everyone, welcome to Beach Investing. I'm your host, Andrei Angelkovski. We are going to be busting a very big myth today. And that myth is investing in real estate in Toronto does not work anymore. And that is completely false. And how am I going to prove that to you? Watch. If you ask any investor, what do they look for when they look at properties? What's the number one thing that they look for to make sure that the property is actually a viable, good investment property? And 99% of the investors out there will say ROI, return on investment. You see, this represents only 50% of the story. If you only focus on the numbers, you're missing the other 50%. And what does that other 50% combine of? It involves lifestyle. It involves the feeling that you get when you walk into a property. It includes pride of ownership. It includes the six, Toronto, the hub of Canada. Why would someone want to invest in that house that you're looking at? Not just today, not just for 5 years from now, but in 25 years from now. Why does someone want to invest there? 50% of the story is numbers. The other 50% is the feeling that you get in there when you walk in. There's no doubt about it. I've done it, I've seen it in hundreds of times. Walking to open houses, conducting open houses, seeing investors, seeing buyers, seeing sellers, coming into houses and telling me how they feel when they walk in there. And you as a buyer of an income property have to look at it from that standpoint. If you don't, you're going to be missing a big chunk of that value. And if you only focus on the numbers, then yes, Toronto will probably not work for you as a viable investment area, because the numbers are not that crazy when it comes to cash flow. But when you look at all the other elements, equity, growth, people with demand and supply, all those fundamentals really make Toronto not just a great place to invest in, but in my opinion, one of the best places to invest in the world. People choose to ignore the fact that Toronto is one of the greatest cities. And not just that, but there's pockets within Toronto that are simply to die for. You will see, I've seen it because I'm a real estate agent, but I've seen people waiting for 3 to 5 years, literally, to buy on a specific street and neighborhood that they absolutely love. But the demand and supply in those areas are simply out of control. But this dictates the value. And when it comes to that, this is very important for investors to realize. So about 12 years ago, I was actually swayed to actually start looking to buy an income property outside of Toronto. Prior to that, I was investing in Toronto, but then I got introduced to other areas, areas that were more affordable, that offered more cash flow. I did invest in those areas. And then shortly after that, I realized that was not for me. I just realized that Toronto, my own backyard, was the place to invest in for the reasons I mentioned prior to this. So just to give you a few examples of real life examples of deals that actually work. And I mean, not just work, I mean like wow work, okay? The property that we're standing in right now, this is a basement apartment if you weren't able to notice, but it's a stunning basement apartment. It's tall, it is 9 feet tall. And when you create stuff like this in Toronto, people are gonna pay a premium. This is a basement apartment that someone's gonna be renting for $2,500 a month, unfurnished, plus all utilities. It's got its own furnace, own hydro, heated floors, 2 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms. And it's right by the beach. So everything you want, there's supply and there's demand. That dictates the rental value as well. So this property, for an example, was purchased for $950 a year and a half ago. They put in roughly about $550,000 into it. The rent is $2,500, $2,800, and $3,800. It's a legal triplex. And there's $200 for parking. That's $9,300 a month. And after reappraisal, refinancing at $1.7 million, their net cash flow is after mortgage, property taxes, insurance, repairs and maintenance, vacancy allowance, $2,700 a month. Let me repeat, cash flow of $2,700 a month. Okay, that might not be the norm, but still, we're busting the myth big time. And I'm excited about this and I'm passionate about this because people continuously come to me and say, Toronto's not a great place to invest in. It is a phenomenal place to invest in. I invest here myself, and anyone else that wants to invest here, I love helping them. It's an amazing place. So that's an example of a buy, renovate, rent and hold, and refinance and hold. Okay, there's other examples. If you want to buy a flip property, a client of mine just purchased a two-story home that for $560, he put in $450,000. So that's roughly, you're at $1 million in total. He flipped it for $1.42 million. After fees and expenses, he netted approximately $400,000. Again, we're busting the myth that there are amazing deals to be found in Toronto. You just got to work with the right team. Okay, that's another example of a flip opportunity. Then there's multifamily opportunities. There's an 11-plex in East York that was purchased for $2.45 million. This requires about $350,000 of renovations to get the apartments up to a more luxurious standard. Then they refinanced it. And after they refinanced it, they actually got all their money and then some to now reinvest in another project. Just an example of a multifamily, such as an 11-plex. So those are three examples that I wanted to share with you of a buy, renovate, and hold, a flip opportunity, and a multifamily opportunity. There's many others, but I wanted to give you the three general categories. And of course, there's always those smaller deals, like the smaller bungalows in the right locations for the right price. Those actually work as well. All of these deals that I'm giving you an example of, and even other ones, they all offer on the first rental year of at least 15% return on your investment. So I offer you one more piece of advice. If you are investing for retirement, for your children, to replace your job income, whatever the reason is, I offer you one piece of advice. You don't need 20, 30, or 50 properties to make your dreams come true, to get financial independence. All you need is 1, 2, maybe 3. That's all you need. If you start chasing the empire dream, which some of you might, but I tried chasing that before and I realized that I was losing my well-being and a lot more around that too. But if you stick to the 1, 2, 3 strategy, I'm telling you, it will be enough and more than enough. Not just for you and your retirement, your children, to replace your job income, but for generations to come. Happy investing, Toronto investors.